Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Five Star Revolution podcast with your host, CJ Price. Thanks for joining us for another great episode. Make sure to join us on Facebook, Five Star Revolution Podcast, and subscribe to our YouTube channel right now. Tonight, we have a very special guest, and his name is FOXX VINYER. How you doing tonight, sir?
What up, what up, what up? I'm fragile. What's up?
I'm not too much, man. Just chilling here. Thanks again for joining us here tonight. I really appreciate it. So let's get started here. This is an icebreaker that I do with every guest. Were you a fan of pro wrestling growing up? And if so, who are some of your favorites? Who
I
is
don't
that?
know.
Owen Hart? Hulk Hogan?
Bret and Hogan. I was more of a Bret Hart fan as a kid. I mean, I loved Hogan just because it was Hogan at the time, but it was all about Bret. I became more of a Hogan fan as I started getting older and realizing how awesome he was. And then Hollywood Hogan came, and he's just the coolest dude on earth. So, as you can tell.
Totally different wrestlers, two different styles. As you know, Hogan was more of a character. Bret Hart was more of a wrestler.
Right.
So what drew you to them? What was about them that you liked?
As a kid, I think with Bret, it was his gear, to be honest with you, because it was just like match, 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 like pink top, black pants, pink pants, black top, pink wristband, knee pads over the thing, white boots. I got a thing for white boots. And then like just watch him, he was just a badass as a kid. And I remember I would get like sweatpants, and I'd take like my father's tube socks from work and tuck my pants into them, tank top, you get your little baseball jacket, and I would walk around like bum bum bum. I'd walk down my hallway slapping the doorknobs and everything. But yeah, just like it was just real. Like for me, Bret, like it was just like he was just cool. And then as Hogan, it was just like it was just Hulk Hogan. He was the spectacle, the whatever, whatever. And then Hollywood came and changed the world.
So have you ever had the privilege to meet Bret Hart or Hogan?
Yeah, I met him in the same week, which was crazy because they're like two of the three that I want to meet in life. I met Bret. I did a big time wrestling show. I was an antagonist person, and like, so Bret was doing his shit, and like, I was backstage. Said, Bret, I'm wearing pink and black because of you. Like, can I just get a picture? And then we got to go out, and he did he did a promo, and he was like, "You're a piece of trash." I said, "Damn, Bret, I thought we were friends." And then I flew to Florida for a WWE tryout thing with William Regal, and I was like, my first stop has to be the beach shop. So I just happened to go there as it was opening up, like it was the first day, and they didn't open till like 5 at night, but like I just wanted to go check it out because I was right there because it was by where I was staying. And then Hogan shows up in a car, gets out and shakes people's hand. I was like, he's like, "Hey, come here, give me some of that energy, brother." And I was like, "Oh, for life." And then I got teary eyed, and I'm like, "All right, I gotta go. I don't need to pay to get his autograph. I just shook his hand, legit. I'm good." But
So I was wondering, when you met Bret Hart and you asked him for a picture backstage, was he mad about that? Like, did he think you were like marking out or whatever?
nah, he was cool. He was like, "Yeah, sure." Took the picture, and then literally his music hit, and we went outside, or we went out. He went to the ring.
So where was that moment in your life where you said, "I want to do this. I want to become a pro wrestler"?
You want to become a pro wrestler?
When was that moment where you said,
Oh,
"I want to become a pro wrestler. I want to do this"?
I mean, like I wrestled in the backyard as a kid, and like did all that stuff with my buddies in high school, and like all the cool, you know what I'm saying? But like the story always goes, I happened just to see my best friend who moved away driving, and I was like, "Is that him? Let me go follow him." And I happened to talk to him. He worked out at Gold's Gym at the time, and he was like, "Hey, there's some wrestlers that come in here, and they said they're opening up a school, and I'm gonna go check it out." And at this time, I was like, "Yeah, I used to like hang out in a wrestling ring when I was like 13 with like Kenny Casanova and stuff. I'm gonna go check it out." And so I went and checked it out, and I was like, oh man, I want to do this. So I didn't have a job, and the trainer, JP Black, was like, get a job, get some money, come back. And then magic happened. The next morning, a pizza shop called me asking if I wanted to deliver. So I was like, yeah, well, let's go.
What was that? What was that wrestling school that you went to?
I went to the Do or Die Academy. JP Black. Then the Now was there coming in, training. Bobby Fish, the Outcast Killers, Omar Tortuga, Diablo Santiago. And then people here and there, Cheech and Cloudy, etc.
Do you remember your first official match and who was it against?
Yeah, July 18th, 2009. It was Capital Punishment. That's FOXX VINYER and the real R.L. Coleman teaming with Ian Daniels, who I went to high school with, against Drake Evans, Max Burton, and Big Vigo at In Your Face Wrestling in Queensbury, New York. 6-man tag, one of the most boring 16 minutes you'll ever watch in your life.
Where did you learn from that match, and how do you carry that on to your wrestling matches now?
What did I? Hello, cat. My cat's attacking me. What did I learn from that match? How to sell tickets for it. We sold 70 tickets to all of our friends, family who drove an hour to come see us, and we felt bad because after we were done, they left. we had to put that disclaimer on, like, hey, please stay for the show. But like you learn, it's always I learned more from that match going back to watch it now than I did at the time, where it was like, oh man, I didn't know anything. I was just like, I'm gonna go out, do what I think I know, and at the time, that's why people probably hate me now. Fuck y'all. I thought I was the shit. I was like, yo, FOXX VINYER, I'm in a band, I rap, I do cool stuff, and now I'm wrestling. Yeah, I'm 24 and an asshole. But like, I mean, you just grow from it. You learn. You have fun. You look back and like, never wear that type of gear. Never. At least get boots, man. Don't.
So,
Why am I wearing gloves? I don't know.
so if there's one thing you wish you knew when you first started that you know now, what would it be?
That FOXX VINYER can do this. Because I didn't really have like the super confidence of like, I'm gonna go out there and be like me, I'm gonna go out and do everything. I was very much piggybacking on my best friend who was my tag partner. He was the one who was like, I'm gonna get to WWE, I'm gonna wrestle, I'm gonna do this, blah 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 blah. And I was like, yeah, me too. Let's go. But like, he knew how to do promos, he knew how to wrestle, he knew moves, he knew the psychology stuff. And then like, even my trainer says it, and he's just like, I would have never thought that you would be the one who was the standout out of the entire group of people that we had throughout the years. Which is cool because like, but yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just like, all right, this is what you do. I felt cool wrestling. Like, yo, I got like one show a month. I'm, you know what I mean? I didn't know, but like, if I knew back then what I could become or what I could do or like how I would become, I'm not saying I'm a big deal, but how I become me, like I know I can go put on a good show for people. Things would have been different. I would have like I spent, let me see, the first maybe 5 years, 6 years in a tag team. So I wasn't doing promos. I had like a little character thing, but we were just boring tag team of we're two guys, we're blah. There was no real character, no real thing. It was just let's go do. I didn't really have opinions much or idea. I had a little bit of ideas, but it was like kind of ideas I have now, like little comedy ones that I'm like, oh, this would work, But if I knew back then, like, oh shit, like I could do this and like people would actually care about it, I would have probably been a singles wrestler sooner. But timing is everything. You know what I mean?
So, speaking about your character, for people that are listening to us right now, who is FOXX VINYER? You mind explaining the character a bit and what it's about?
No idea. Well, people always say like, "Oh, you don't know who you are, Chris Envy. Oh, you don't know who you are. No one's gonna." Nah, like Fox Vineyard is me. Like it's legit me. Um, the character that I like, the look, I guess I should say, it depends on how I feel. Sometimes I'm wearing the shorts with the bright pink shoes, and I'm going out hip hopping and rocking and You know what I mean? Then other times the hair's out and all crazy and stupid, and wearing tassels and confetti is always a plus. Thanks for stealing everybody out on the scene. But like everyone's, it's just me. Like I am what do you say, like a human celebration, like I'm a cartoon character come to life. I like to say like firework, as you can see right here. Firework. What's a firework to you? Oh, it's really beautiful in the sky, right? Like, oh wow, like it's amazing. It brings happiness and joy, and but there's that boom that's really powerful, right? And it's like if you mess with a firework and mess around with it the wrong way, it's gonna hurt you. It can do real damage. So that's like me. Oh, he's super fun. Oh man. Yeah, but he'll explode and hit you with the power slam and wham! You know what I mean?
Right.
And then
And
like I also put it as like a tree frog. Like they're super bright colored. I wear super bright colors. And it's kind of the same thing. Like, hey, bright colors. Warning, warn. The tree
right.
frogs have and poisonous frogs and venomous frogs and shit. They have bright color. They're pink, blue, green, whatever they are, because they're a warning to prey. Like, maybe we'll go over here. You know what I mean? And that's the character. You know what I mean?
And I've seen your work, man. I'm super impressed of your work. I think you can make it to the big times for sure, especially with your character that you're doing. I've seen that you've been to AEW Dark a couple times now. How was that experience for you?
It was awesome. Actually, Dark just aired yesterday. Fox Vineyard took on the Dark Order with Jameson Ryan and Bollock. Um, it was good. Like people always give you the shit, like, "Oh, you did AEW, man," but like you got nothing in. You were barely there. No, it's not just like this 5 minute match that I did, which I got my shit in. Uh, but it's the whole experience of being backstage, talking to people. Like you're walking by and oh, there's CM Punk. Hey man, like we're this is obtainable. You know what I mean? Like Jerry Lynn comes up to you and says, "Hey man, you're really like you're this, you're that, you're that." You know what I mean? Puts you over and it makes you feel good. Like maybe I can be here. And then you get to hang out with the boys and just eat catering and talk bullshit. You talk about movies, wrestling, anything, and then it's like wow, this is where I belong. I should be here. It's just waiting to get that ball finally, and then take it. So if anyone wants to get behind me, let me do some things. I'm ready. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like it's just like it's a good experience all around. It's like when you go to a theme park, right? It's like, hey, I went to I don't know, whatever, Six Flags and I rode the Superman. That's all you wanted to do. But it's like, what else did you? Oh, I also won this giant animal, or I actually had this awesome food, or I met my friend, or I happened to meet a girl, or whatever. It's like what you see is you, Superman, let's go. What you see is Fox, AEW, Dark, let's go. But you don't see everything around you're building relationships with people, you're getting the experience, you're hanging out in the stadium, chilling. You know what I mean? Like it's the under of everything, the below the surface level, I guess I should say.
And you also mentioned that you were a part of a WWE tryout. Do you mind explaining the differences between AEW and WWE locker rooms and stuff?
Well, this was like it was the evolved WWE William Regal type of deal where he ran it. Everyone we got in the ring with Matt Riddle and he's a monster. It was like 20 people in line. Everyone goes 1 minute just rolling around with Matt. Okay. And then we did that, which was awesome because you got to just I'm gonna go see like Matt's UFC. Like I've known him from Monster Factory. He's also from 45 minutes up the road. From like when he went to the same area as me. But like then you had the tryout, and then what we did for that tryout was we did that, and then we did matches. And then you do the match, and of course, my match was last, which was like we waited 4 hours to do, and then people are tired, and it's like I hope people care. And then they tell you should change everything. We're not looking for characters. And then 6 months later, everyone on NXT is a goddamn character, and you're like, what the? But yeah, like I mean, I've done like it was a good experience. Like it was cool because I got to like meet Gabe Sapolsky and got a relationship with him, and so like throughout the year since it's happened, like I've emailed and sent him stuff he's watched and like checked it out, and you know, so that's cool. Then you meet like cool people that are out there, like that you just happen to see on the scene. You're like, oh man, what up? And then you just keep in contact with them, and you're happy for their success too. You know what I mean?
So talking about meeting people and stuff. I'm sure you've been on the road a lot in your pro wrestling career, and I'm sure you have at least one funny road story that you can tell us.
I don't know if it's allowed to tell you that. Just like I mean, as far as what context?
Just one funny road story that comes to mind that you're willing to share.
It's not much of a road story as if just like a funny thing that's happened. Like I was in Maine driving, and out of nowhere, just a pickup truck with a probably 8-foot bear on the back of it. Like what the hell?
What?
Yeah, it was like a big stuffed bear. I said okay, but like the trips are cool. Like me and my old tag partner of Echo Boomers, Jimmy Limits, we went down and did a Fight for the Mind pay-per-view for Shooter Storm, RIP. He put on a thing for Alzheimer's cancer his mother passed away from. So he put us on. It was in Tennessee. So we drove down, and like that story was cool because me and Jimmy got in the car. We left maybe on a Thursday or maybe a Wednesday night, and the show was on Friday. And we drove 14 hours straight through, and it was like I just took some NyQuil, laid in the back seat, switched off. We got to Tennessee. We got to the hotel, and like the hotel was banging, and like right outside our room, there's a hot tub and a pool, and it was like, let's cut some promos. So he's cutting a promo, and I'm acting like the killer because I'm doing the killer whale gimmick. So he's acting like a whale. I'm just jumping up, plopping around, flopping around, and then we went to and then next door to the hotel, there's a trampoline park, and it was like there was a
Nice.
Planet Fitness and a trampoline park. So we went and got worked out, and I was like, yo, I'd rather just go play on the trampoline. So we just went to the trampoline next door, and we're just sitting there jumping around. This little kid showing us up with backflips and everything, and I'm just like, okay, bud. And then we got done with the show, which ran late because the ring broke, fell, collapsed, and we got done. We had to be on the road by 11 o'clock at night because we had a show at 7 o'clock in Massachusetts, 15 hours away. And we're driving back, and we got to a half hour, not no, actually like right down the street from the venue, and I got pulled over. Cops like, what are you doing? Where are you coming from? And I'm exhausted. I'm like ready to die. I said, dude, we just drove 4.5 hours from Tennessee to wrestle here. And I hand him the ticket for the show or flyer. He's like, oh, no, go ahead, just be safe. I was like, hey. Then we got to the show. We did a tag match and went home, and I slept for 2 days because I was exhausting. But I mean, like, it was always funny stories on the road. Like when you hang, depends on who you're with. The first half, I went up to Maine with my best friend, and so we would go to the club after, and we just get drinks, and we got KFC. It was his birthday, so we got a whole cake, ate it, and then we're like, let's watch wrestling because the company up there would do their local show in the morning. So we just sit there and watch ourselves on TV in the morning, and then let's go to the show. But yeah,
Sounds crazy, man. Sounds like a fun time.
yeah. I mean, it's a lot more fun than it sounds. But like, there's 13 years of driving on the road, so what are you gonna do?
So are you ready for a challenge, my friend?
Oh boy.
I do this to every single guest that comes on my podcast. You're going to be no different. I always challenge the wrestler to cut a promo for 30 seconds in character on anything you want. You think you can do it?
Probably because I'm a fucking amazing.
Okay, whenever you're ready, man.
How about we switch your challenge up and you give me something to cut one about?
How about you cut one on me, CJ Price?
CJ Price. What am I supposed to say about CJ Price? That you have a podcast in your bedroom And that you want the likes of Firework FOXX VINYER, who's been on every major television program, who's also an actor, a musician, a rapper, can drop bars anytime he wants. And you want to sit here and tell me to cut a 30-minute or 30-second promo? I'll do 30 minutes if you got the time. But if you want to step in the ring, I don't think you can handle it because I can beat you probably in 5 minutes. And if I don't beat you, then I will shake your hand and I'll let you buy me Chinese food. So you better have the right price for me.
That's fun.
Scene.
So you mentioned that you're an actor, you're a rapper, you're a musician. Mind talking a little bit about that?
Yeah, I've been doing like little extra work here and there. So like I was on like Modern Love season 2, episode 4. You see me like 4 times throughout, hidden. Severance with Ben Stiller directed Severance with Adam Scott. What's his face? Christopher Walken. Many more. That just aired last Friday, episode 6. I'm in like 2 scenes, just background guy. Got a SAG credit for it. I got my checks hanging up from it. Boom. But it's a good experience. It's all the same thing. Like, hey, here's a little bit of whatever. I'm in here for 30 seconds, whatever. But what have I made from it? I made a little bread. I got some contacts. I got a good agent that messages me and emails me about parts and everything like that. All from that little thing I was about to do. I did like a short film here and there. I did one where I had no lines. I was just MMA fighter jumping and bouncing and stuff, which I haven't heard anything about. So I don't even know if the guy finished the project. I assume he did, but he's like a big model, big whatever. So he had probably doing other shit than putting me on. I filmed the movie last summer, which was awesome because like that whole week it was like my birthday, AEW, and then I filmed the movie, and like it was good. Like I played it's a coming of age story about a kid who has a band and he's trying to get a girl, and they're like trying to win Battle of the Bands because if they win the battle, they get a contract. And like I played the host of the Battle of the Bands. And I'm a Viking, but I host the battle. That was a really good experience. Like I got there, and the first take I had to do, I did 2 days on set, 3 days on set, I think. And the first one was like the director was like, hey, here's the lines, here what we're gonna do. It's just gonna be you, the winner, and then we're just you two. I'm like, okay. He's like, you're gonna be good? I said, yeah, I'm gonna try to do the best. Let's go. And then I just did it, and he's like, that was awesome. Like I didn't expect it to be that good. He's like, tomorrow might be different because you might be a little nervous because there's gonna be 150 extras here, and they're gonna be a live crowd, and I know that might be, and it gets a little actors kind of like nervous and shy when they have perform in front of a live crowd. I go, and I said to the director, I said, you don't know who I am, do you? And like, so the next day he gave me the mic in the crowd. We're sitting there, and I'm like, I go, can I warm him up? And he's like, yeah, do it if you got it, whatever. So I just jumped in and I started warming him up, like, yo, blah, 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 blah. And then the part came on, and like one of my lines I said, it's basically, are you ready for the band? And I said it, and it was like, yeah. Like they were afraid to like participate in the scene.
Right.
So I went off script, as we call in the biz. And I was like, and I like went full FOXX VINYER character. I said, what? Someone, I said, and I went like straight into like, are you ready? Like this band's, I went full ham on it, and they exploded. And I was like thinking to myself, oh, who can work a crowd? Bam. But at the same time, it worked so well for the scene as me being in the character of the MC. Like, are you guys ready? What? Come on. I said bullshit. I said, Triple H and are you ready? And like, it was cool. Like the director was so happy. He's like, I was worried about this scene because it's a very important scene in the movie. and like all this and that. And like that's a feature movie that they're still editing. They've been working on it for like 3 years. Like then COVID happened, so all that shit. But like I think it's going to like they're pitching it to like Netflix, Paramount, all that stuff. Like Dave Grohl has something involved with it, and like it was pretty cool for me. And like the guy's interested in putting me in another thing. I did like a small film. It's on YouTube. If you look up My Own Worst Enemy, and then type in like school or something, because you just get the song. But like that was okay. Like I'm pretty good for not being an actor. And then like the movie's just like a movie about like a guy who's insane and he sees all these things, and I'm like kind of his creation that came to life type of deal. But what's cool about it is that all these guys that I work with, like the directors and all that, the first thing I say to them is like, hey, who's doing the soundtrack? Who do you need for music? What can you do? And so like the one person let me write, I wrote a theme song and they use it in the credits. And this other movie that I'm filming tomorrow, or for the next few days, I wrote a theme song for that and they fucking loved it. And I was like, sweet. And they're like, here's a little extra bread for you for doing it. So that's cool because then I get to put in like me in this, and I asked them about wardrobe too. And I was like, they're like, yeah, we're doing this. You're going to be this. I said, hey, do you mind if I wear a FOXX VINYER shirt that doesn't have my face on it? So it's like a meta thing. So they're like, yeah, go ahead. So it's going to be cool to see myself playing a character wearing my own shirt that's not me. I mean, I did it in the My Own Worst Enemy YouTube one. I'm wearing this shirt while being the character, which is funny to me because it's a cool little Iggy for myself. But yeah, like it is like it's all the same thing. And like wrestling has helped me better with the acting shit, and acting is gives me more confidence with wrestling, I guess, because
But I
like
was
I
gonna
can
ask you, do you mind sharing the differences like between doing a movie and being on a wrestling show?
um wrestling you get one take if you're wrestling a match. Like you can do a promo, and like this is a note for anyone who's watching who is a wrestler who cuts promos. You're allowed to do more than one take. So when you guys are stumbling on your words and it's horrible, redo it. It's okay. But when you're in the ring doing a match, obviously you don't get another take. It's just let's go, let's go, let's go. But like when I filmed one scene, we did it, and then like the first thing I did when I filmed the movie last year, I had the mic and I did my line and I messed up, and I said I'm sorry, and I walked back to my position, my start, and they're like, you can just keep going, and I never even thought about it that like when you watch like an outtake of like a movie and say your lines like I gotta go buy some milk, and then the person's like I gotta go buy some milk. I gotta go buy some milk. I gotta buy milk. Like they just go. They don't break. They just keep going. That way, the editor, when they're done, when it's like cut, and they go to editing room, they could have, I'm gonna go buy some milk. Well, I gotta buy milk. And they can just choose what they want.
Okay, all right.
So I learned that, like, oh, you can keep going. So even when I'm cutting a promo for wrestling and I'm like mess up, I just keep going and then I could edit it myself. Or I stop the take and redo it because I like to be perfectionist about it. But like a lot of it's like repetitive. Like for the one scene I did for Severance last year that aired Friday, it was literally everybody in your position, action, do it. Okay, cut, rewind. Everyone goes back to where they were. All right, everyone do it this way. Action, go. And like I'm just like, okay. So when I did one of the scenes, the guy's like, wow, man. So I did an opening scene of whatever. I'm like, I'm a guy knocking on a door. And we had a we didn't use any of the shoot because we had to change location because of police or whatever, something like that. But I'm doing it and I just like look at the camera, I'm doing whatever I have to do. And the main actor who's done like Broadway and stuff was like, hey, you have it, man. I said, what are you talking about? The script? Yeah, I have it right here. Here you go. He's like, no, you have it. Like, you have this energy, like you're focused, you're right in the, like, you know where to look, you know where to blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, he's like, you did it in like one take, you went straight through. I said, I'm just used to one takes, man. Like they say action cameras there. All right, I can't mess it up. Here we go. So like wrestling like carries over that. And these actors are so impressed by me just being like, you want to get in here and do something? And I'm like, okay, cool. But then like wrestling, I can go and be like, this would be cool if we shot it this way, or we had the pan, or like, so like they kind of help with each other, which
Okay.
is cool because hey, gotta do what you gotta do, so bad, right?
So my last question for you, Mr. Vineyard. I had so many questions, but we're cutting short on time. I just want to know what's in store for you. What can we expect out of you in the next 3 years?
3 years. Oh man. Well, if we're lucky, fingers crossed, I win some championships. I get a big movie role. I get a song picked up in a movie. That's the real goal. I want to have one of my either have me have a big part in a movie, or even if it's a little part. Like I was watching the movie Rampage, right? You know, the Rock.
Hmm.
And I'm just in theaters. I love this movie. I love stuff. And then here comes security guard. It's QT Marshall. I said, "What the fuck?" So I waited till right after the movie. He's like, "You're in Rampage?" Like that's what I want. Like that moment to be like someone just watching like fucking Spider Man or like, did we just see Fox and Spider Man wearing a Fox Vineyard shirt? You know what I mean? Like that big recognition of like, oh, cool. Maybe like a big breakout role, I guess I should say. And that includes movies, wrestling, music. Maybe my role in wrestling isn't Firework FOXX VINYER. Maybe somebody wants to have me, hey, I need you to be Thug 2. And I'm just in wrestling behind MJF. I'm the new Wardlow. You know what I mean? Like, who knows? It's just to be given the ball, I should say, to do it. Like, that's what my 3 years I want is to generate a fan base all over, even if that means I have to do TikTok dances and show my tits or whatever the girls do to get follows. You know what I mean? And like just build this big fan base and make the Fox Vineyard brand that I've been building since I was 14 when I made Fox Vineyard in 1999. Um, to like be the household that name. Like, oh, this is blah blah. Like it's cool when someone like recognizes you in like a town or like a different state. Or like, hey, I think I like one of my biggest things that made me feel good about like kind of motivated me more was I was in Ireland and I was at a show. Just I almost got to wrestle, but something came up and they had to like change the card. So not a big deal. Like they're like, anytime you're back, we'll put you on. Boom. Okay. But I was sitting there in the crowd, and like usual, I have my hat on. And the second my hat comes off and my hair shows, people are like, hey, 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 hey. They know who I am. And like I took my hat off just to, like because it was hot in the building. And a few people came over and they were like, hey, um, I think I've seen you on Ring of Honor before. I was like, oh yeah, I did do Ring of Honor. Like, yeah, we know the hair. And I was like, oh, trademark. You know what I mean? But like just that feeling of like, oh, okay. That's what my 3 years I want to do is to have a hit. That's in a simple term, have a hit. Whether it's wrestling, oh, boom, there's a hit. If it's movies, TV, whatever, oh, he has a hit. That's he got a big role. He got a breakout. Even if it's like whatever. Just that someone's like, oh shit, you know? And then music, maybe I sell something and like Justin Bieber's like, can I sing this song? Yeah, bro.
And I'm sure that'll happen for you, man, because of the content that you put out. You seem like a very hard worker and very dedicated.
I'm I'm always grinding and like and girls always say, oh, you're so busy to blah blah blah. No, I'm busy because I don't have a reason not to be. Like, why would I not be busy? Like, I have goals and like ambitions and I want to do things. You know what I mean? And
Right.
like that's all I look for. Like I want to work for people who have the same thing, who believe me in me. Like I always say to people, I'm a team player. If you're on my team, I'm on yours, and we can take over the world. And some places are with me, you know, some places aren't. That's a different story. But in the end, in 3 years, it's gonna be like, oh, I remember I asked that guy in 3 years about shit, and here's where he said it.
So, where can our listeners follow you on social media?
You can find me everywhere, pretty much at Fox Vineyard, like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, PlayStation 4. If you like music, you want to hear my band, it's Zoo Green 6. That's ZOOGREEN and the number 6. That's on Spotify, Apple, TikTok, anything you can search Pandora. Search a song, type in that band. There it is. But yeah, give me a follow, give me a like, say hello. We'll play some SmackDown or whatever the hell they call the game these days. Yeah.
Well, there you go, folks. Go follow my friend FOXX VINYER on all those social media platforms. Go
Do it.
check out his music. You might see him on the movie screen someday. And follow us on Facebook, 5 Star Revolution Podcast. Mr. FOXX VINYER, thank you so much, and we
Thank
appreciate
you.
you coming on, sir.